I want to live in a world where you show someone you love them by putting your arms around their body and not just a ring around their finger. A world where a woman doesn't care what kind of car a man drives, she simply cares that he is driven. I want to live in a world where teenage boys trade in their copies of Call of Duty for Nerf guns and water pistols, and they wage war at every street corner, trying to recruit passerbys. A world where every park has at least a dozen swings so that no one has to wait to rekindle their childhood. A world where people get high from climbing trees and not just from smoking trees. A world where children read their parents' bedtime stories because, trust me, even grown adults want to fall asleep hearing happily ever after. I want to live in a world where we trade all these cryptic contracts for the old school, foolproof pinky promise. A world where people realize you don't have to be in a classroom to teach. You don't have to be a soldier to protect the ones you love. You don't have to be a student to learn something new. And you don't have to carry a badge to serve your community, because it's not the role you have. It's the role you choose to play. I want to live in a world where people judge you by what you say, by what you do, by how you live, and not simply judge you by what you say you do for a living. A world where people have the luxury of spending their paychecks after they've earned them instead of having every penny accounted for before the ink dries. I want to live in a world where people are guided by their dreams and not their GPS. Remember, if you don't know how you got there in the first place, if you lose your way, you won't know your way back. I want to live in a world where instead of 11 hours of news, they spend 30 minutes a day telling you all the amazing things that happened today in hopes that you will repeat them tomorrow. A world where people don't wait for the power to go out, to leave their homes and meet their neighbors. It's a shame. Oftentimes it is not until we are powerless that we realize how truly powerful we are. I want to live in a world where people realize that even though it takes a website to tell you you have 437 friends, all it takes is a flat tire at 437 to show how many friends you really have. A world where people are more inclined to find reality by looking out of their window than into their television screen. I want to live in a world where no one sits, everyone stands. They stand for a cause, they stand for a purpose, or at the very least, stand up for themselves. Do you remember where you were standing the last time you stood for anything? I want to live in a world where people are just as inclined to give their home address as their email address because they really do want to get together at 7:30 on Friday. And not send you a message through one of the 5 different sites at 7:25 saying, oh, my bad. Sorry, too personal. I want to live in a world where the people with the most dollars are trying to make the most change because that's what makes the most sense. If you find yourself a bit disillusioned, don't worry, you're not alone. If you find yourself a bit disoriented in this very confusing world, again, we are amongst you, I assure you. But do not look to your elders for advice or your colleagues. If you're really lost, you need to talk to like a 6-year-old because they got their shit straight. Okay, a 6-year-old would tell you, just go to wherever the brightest colors lead you. A 6-year-old would say that every strip of pavement should be covered with colored chalk. A 6-year-old would tell you that when it rains, it's the world becoming a giant water park waiting for you to come outside and play. But most of all, I'll tell you what, a 6-year-old would tell you that the circle will never fit in the square. And we are constantly trying to shove the circle into the square, destroying ourselves and those who care for us in the process. I guess what I'm saying is I just want to live in a world where no matter how old any of you become, in your hearts and in your minds, you are just 6 years old. Come play. Thank you.